Welcome back to Umineko.
Welcome back.
I'm doing the intros now.
The world of the future, and there's a coffee shop and some cars and some beeping, and this yak is a
And
looking
this
dude.
fucking nerd is the best character. Yeah, I want to know, look, do you have anything, did anything jump out at you from that last scene? I want to know, was it confusing? Because Angie was all, I'm going to try and understand magic, and Maria was all, you can see me when your eyes are closed and you open them. What do you think about all of that?
I don't know.
No? You got, nothing jumps out at you there?
So, there are, like, two ideas that I have, mainly. The first thing I'm thinking is maybe she's just like, you know, being represented in a space that we can't qualify as real with an unreliable narrator.
Sure.
The other idea that I had is that, like, you know, she is actually just like trying to think through these things and cope with them by like visualizing these characters.
You think so?
I mean, like, you know, if you've had a pretty traumatic, messed up life after your whole family died, wouldn't be too far-fetched to get some sort of, you know, associative personality for these ghosts in your head.
Yeah, I mean, she's reading Maria's diary and saying, hey, this is like, I'm talking with Maria, I'm having a conversation with her and like talking about her home life and all that stuff. And she seems to be empathizing a lot with Maria and seeing a lot of similarities in their positions.
And I think the other thing is maybe the diary is actually just written that way, like to an audience. Maybe the diary was actually like written to Angie because it said they were good friends, right?
It said that Maria wrote the diary like she was telling someone else's story. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I don't know. It's like we haven't really had any implications yet of what the diary is.
Sure.
It's just like the fact that she mentioned fragments, the fact that the diary survived and she got it. But I don't know. We probably will get to that, I imagine. I'm like thinking of things at the moment, but I don't want to like lock in anything because I don't have any like crazy solid answers to that.
Sure. Okay. Just want to probe your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you'll have a sudden revelation at 3 a.m. and then you'll just explain everything perfectly, so it's fine. Alright. Oh god, I guess I'm probably gonna have to play this character, aren't I? God damn. This is one of the characters that I'm like, what voice do I even do for this guy? I guess he's kind of a Yakuza-looking, kind of a businessman. With like
two earrings.
2 earrings. Looking good.
Does he have both earrings in the new images? I didn't actually look.
Damn.
Totally does.
There he goes.
He's a suave-looking motherfucker.
Alright, I think... Oh, god. Okay.
What is with Ryukishi in red shirts?
I don't know, he just likes the color red, I guess.
Big Star Trek fan?
Maybe. All the people with red shirts die horribly, clearly. Uma has it, Angie-chan, that you jumped off the top of a skyscraper.
The groupies were getting annoying, so I thought I'd give them the slip.
Angie and an older gentleman wearing an expensive suit were alone in a massive modern conference room. All of the newest machines for presentations were installed there. All of the newest machines. But they didn't upset its refined and composed atmosphere. And that alone was enough to make the business-like theme of the room abundantly clear. However, that didn't matter at all to Angie. She carelessly sat on a high-class chair that executives making a salary of several 10 million yen probably sat in, looking aloof from the world.
It's because I knew they were remodeling on a lower floor and had a safety net out.
Angie talks about it like it was no big deal, but in reality it had been a miracle among miracles. To think that she'd shot through several layers of safety netting for that remodeling project. Been caught in a multicolored banner adorning the atrium and slipped off, only to be softly caught by a final banner laid on the ground without a scratch. Yeah. So this is the aftermath of that skyscraper jump, and she like jumped and then fucking got caught. Just fucking amazing.
I really have to question the definition of safety nets if she broke through some layers of them.
She just like smashed through a bunch and then was caught by some random banner. Yeah, totally.
I mean, I guess maybe they were meant to be banners for catching people falling from lower.
Maybe, yeah.
But still, like, come on.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like they were made that well. They weren't actually expecting someone to like jump off a skyscraper.
Just put a bit of fishing wire. It'll be fine.
They'll catch them. If it rings their necks on the way down, it's fine. It's not a problem. And then briskly leave that place. It put Hong Kong movies to shame. Whether you knew there was a net or not, this is a 200-meter tall super skyscraper we're talking about, right? If things hadn't gone as you planned, there'd be a mess to deal with now.
I figured that if I died, I'd be dead, and that would be that, no more or less. Well, I was still testing my luck a bit. I keep adding words in places.
Not more or less, hold on.
I mean, the phrase is still valid, but like, I don't know why I'm doing that today. I probably do it more often than I notice, but I'm doing it a lot right now.
It's okay, I feel you. I feel your pain. I do similar things.
Well, still, I was testing my luck a bit. Call it youthful zeal.
As though saying that she'd had enough of that topic, Angie shrugged coldly. Seeing that, the old gentleman, who was looking at the world below through a crack in the blinds, cackled.
I have to see this face.
The fucking wink. That is a Rudolph-level wink. Oh my god. So you were testing your luck, is that it? My, you truly are Kinzo-san's grandchild. The nerve to trust your life to chance. The chairman was also a woman who could stake her life on a bet like it was nothing. So maybe this really is the Yoshimiya blood at work. You really will make it big in the future. Please, let me be blunt. Why not give up this running away from home act and return to the Sumidera family?
Okay. So this is, Kyrie's family.
Yeah.
I heard that Mom had a bad relationship with her family. I don't want to go through the house of people I first met at a funeral.
Damn.
The Sumideras are Mom's family. They're an old family from Kyoto, and compared to Mom's frank attitude, unbelievably strict. The only Sumidera I'd been on good terms with was Grandpa, who was living apart from his family under the guise of retirement. Mom kept in touch with him too, but she avoided the rest of the family completely, almost hostilely so. So when I went out to play with the Sumidera family, it was always Grandpa's house I visited. When I was young, I didn't really understand it, but I hear that Grandpa was in an extremely weak position as a man who'd moved to his wife's family register, and his relationship with Grandma was also bad.
What? Theories?
So basically, Kyrie's parents did the same thing that Hideyoshi did?
Maybe.
Like,
what do you mean?
Because Hideyoshi had himself moved to his wife's family register, right?
Yes.
And that's what they're saying has happened here?
Or are they yes, okay. Absolutely.
Cool.
Grandpa's moved out of Kirie, the Sumidera family, to move into a different family completely, and so that kind of is bad when you have these big, powerful families.
Yeah. You might even say that Grandma had hated him and confined him to the house. Isn't hard to imagine that because she had a soft spot for Grandpa alone. Mom was also hated by the Sumideras. Since I was her daughter, they probably hated me quite a bit too. And yet they appeared for the first time at Mom's funeral, shamelessly going on about how big I'd gotten, like they could actually act like family after all this time. When Aunt Ava died, I would inherit all the wealth of the Ashiramiya family. If that wasn't what they were after, there's no way they would have been able to say such disgusting words.
It's the gain of family politics now. Well, it's not as though I can't understand your desire for self-abandonment now that you're all alone.
This isn't self-abandonment. I'm just taking a carefree stroll now that annoying Aunt Ava has finally kicked the bucket. Everyone else is just making too big a deal out of it. Of course, everyone's after the vast Ashiramiya wealth I bear. They must think that becoming my guardian means they'll be able to do as they please with that wealth. Just how many people have tried to get close to me acting like they want to be a substitute parent?
If you ever find that you're hurting, please talk with me if it will help, okay? After all, I think of you as my own grandchild, Haji-chan.
Huh. I'll say no thank you for now. More importantly, let's return to what we were talking about.
Haji-chan, no matter how many times you ask, I am hiding nothing. The chairman was the only survivor of Makenjima that day, and she passed away without saying anything. I myself know nothing. Everything is wrapped in darkness, you see.
This old gentleman was one of those leaders who had been entrusted with the business group Ava had built up after she passed away.
No, the one he called chairman was the former chairman, Ashiramiya Ava. His company once had friendly ties with Hideyoshi's business, and he'd had a close relationship with both Hideyoshi and Ava. For that reason, when Ava lost Hideyoshi, he became the only person to whom Ava might have let her true intentions slip. Whenever Ava's heart was torn by the loss of her family, whenever she took it out on Angie, he had acted as a buffer between the two. As though Angie didn't trust him, she found him a very easy person to question.
So, he's part of the Sumidera family and was helping Ava?
Yes.
Right.
Is correct. I think so anyway. That crime was... no, that accident. If I call it a crime, I'll get in trouble. I had the same questions about it as the public in the talk shows.
At the time of the accident, why was Aunt Ava in a place 2 kilometers away from the mansion all alone?
What is it? What's 2 kilometers away from the mansion?
What's the other mansion?
Yes, it would be. Yeah.
On the night of a storm.
Jesus. Back then, Kinzo-san was unsure as to whom he should select to be his successor. Officially, he decided on his son, Kraus-san, but he didn't have much trust in that man.
So to fairly determine a successor from among the 4 siblings, he made this game-like test called the Riddle of the Epitaph.
Ostensibly, yes. Kinzo-san probably planned to make Ava-san the successor from the beginning. He wanted to withdraw his own rule that the eldest son be the successor, and instead of Kraus-san, leave the family to the extremely diligent and brilliant Ava-san. The new rule about giving the inheritance to the one who solved the epitaph was probably nothing more than a farce to snatch the position of successor away from Kraus-san.
What do you mean by farce?
Well, there was no need for anyone to solve that epitaph. Once it had been displayed for an appropriate amount of time, Kinzo-san could just call Eva-san, whom he truly wanted to succeed him, and give her the answer. In other words, that itself would provide proof of his succession to the headship.
Uh-huh.
So it's a conspiracy theory. That's a theory, but even so, the theory is that, like, if you want someone to be the head based on this epitaph, then you could just give them the answer, and then that would work, right?
This isn't something they've brought up on the talk shows, is it?
Well, once you bring up the succession of the headship, conspiracy theories tend to rise to the surface. I'm no fool myself. I won't go out of my way to say things that could invite misunderstandings, you see. Hey.
This was his theory. That time the Ishirimiya family head, Kinzo, his remaining life was announced to be short, was troubled by the problem of who was to succeed him. Normally the successor would be fixed as the oldest son Kraus, whom Kinzo had chosen himself.
This is definitely not
Who cares? The narration doesn't matter.
I mean, it does, because it shows us whose perspective we're looking from. In his later years, Kinzo began to think that Ava would make a more fitting family head. However, Kinzo, who was stubborn even against himself, was stymied by the titled successor that he'd already given to Kraus, and he'd searched for an official stance by which he could skip over Kraus and select Ava as successor. That official stance was the Riddle of the Epitaph. The primary successor was still Kraus, but there was a new rule, saying that if someone appeared who could solve the riddle, that they would be chosen as the successor to the headship. Then, on what would probably be his final family conference, Kinzo told Ava the answer to that riddle himself. In short, it was the same as proclaiming that Ava herself was the successor. On that day, Ava-san was summoned by Kinzo-san, who revealed the answer to her, and so that she could succeed the headship, he called Ava-san to the hidden mansion Kuwadori, which only the head knew about.
And because Aunt Ava arrived at the hidden mansion one step ahead, she escaped harm in that accident, you say. Maybe Aunt Ava just killed everyone and made it look like an accident, so she could steal all of the wealth for herself.
That's ridiculous.
And maybe that's why she only escaped unharmed.
Well, that's what the papers are shouting about. However, I believe Ava-san. I'd say there are several points that justify trusting her.
For example?
That ring of the Ishirimiya family head, which is on your finger now, Anji-chan. That ring is the only one of its kind in the world, which Kinzo-san had made specially, and the artisan who made it acknowledges that the object on your finger is, without a doubt, that ring. The Ishirimiya family head's ring. That ring, with the heft of gold and the one-winged seal on it, had a diamond arranged on a pedestal and felt both sturdy and reminiscent of the dark hobbies of the rich. Kinzo had worn that on his finger without removing it even for a moment. This man was saying that the fact Ava had proved that Kinzo had acknowledged her as a successor. After all, Ava-san certainly did have that ring, and if you take into consideration that Ava-san actually was talented and that Kraus had made a fool of himself several times in the business scene, I cannot imagine that Ava-san's story is completely made up.
Although there's the possibility that she murdered grandfather in order to steal the ring, then Aunt Ava, using some kind of trick, massacred everyone and made it look like an accident.
Oof. Ah, yes. It seems the papers were saying something about her massacring everyone with keeping all the wealth to herself as a goal. True, Ava-san was a person capable of holding back nothing when she was determined to accomplish something, or she may have committed murder just once in her life if a chance for keeping all the Ishirimiya family wealth for herself presented itself. However, I don't think that happened.
So what's the second point that justifies your trust in her?
Ava-san's family. Hideyoshi-san and George-kun. It might be difficult for you to believe all of a sudden, Anji-chan, but Ava-san was a person who treasured family greatly.
True, part of me didn't want to believe it or acknowledge it, but I did understand vaguely. And Ava certainly had been a person who highly treasured her family. After all, the root of her twisted personality had been nothing more than the sadness of losing her beloved husband and son. After getting hit with her angry outburst as she tried to distract herself from the pain, I have no feelings of sympathy at all. But it's not like I can't imagine how incredible the shock of losing her whole family must have changed her character. You're saying there's no way Aunt Ava, who loved her family, would throw away her husband and son?
That's right. Even if Ava-san really was the culprit and massacred the entire family, make it look like an accident, she most certainly would have spared her husband and her son. She would quibble that, by coincidence, only her family had been in the hidden mansion. If Hideyoshi-san and George couldn't have been safe, even I would probably suspect Ava-san. Yeah, I truly cannot imagine that Ava-san's wailing at Hideyoshi-san's funeral was an act.
Sounds like both points so far are just circumstantial evidence. Isn't that the same as physically proving that isn't the same as physically proving Aunt Ava's innocence?
If you say that, then you're stuck right away. Ava-san was the only survivor, and she says that this is the truth.
But no one can prove her innocence.
Yeah, that's right. And no one can prove that she committed a crime either. And the final point that justifies trusting her is the police. After all, it was such a flashy crime. The police were being pushed forward by a public in an uproar over conspiracy theories, so they must have investigated Ava-san thoroughly. It was easy to it was easy to feel something unnatural about the claim that Ava had avoided the accident by coincidence because she alone had escaped to a hidden mansion. Furthermore, at the time, Hideyoshi's company had been right in the middle of a takeover struggle, and in order to buy off the big stockholders, she wanted a large sum of cash. It shouldn't be too hard to find a motive there. But as a matter of fact, there had been nothing at all that implicated Ava. She went to the family conference. Nothing unnatural was found on her that could have been used to brutally murder her family and make it look like an accident. The servants who escaped harm by being off duty that day also said that they hadn't seen anything strange regarding anyone related to the event, Ava included. Putting all of that together, it could only be concluded that Ashumiya Ava had headed to Rikkenjima for a normal family conference without any change, and had encountered an accident. The police looked so intensely, and they still couldn't find any evidence that it was a crime. They reached that conclusion themselves. Doesn't this resolve the Rikkenjima suspicion?
I love
In
that
capitals?
Yeah, caps.
That's great.
That just means the police couldn't find evidence there was a crime, right?
There's nothing I can say to counter that. It becomes the devil's proof, after all. To expose it as a crime, you would simply need to find evidence. But what could you possibly find to prove her innocence? It's impossible to prove a negative fact.
Did Aunt Ava commit a crime or did she not? Because we can't find any materials that let us... wait, is this...
No, this is you.
Yeah.
Aunt Ava.
Let us say the truth will remain a mystery, that's what you're saying, right?
That's it. Phrased in a manner you would prefer, that's what it amounts to. It was impossible even for Ava-san to prove her own innocence. On that island, an unfortunate accident occurred. And Ava-san...
I keep saying accident and it makes me so happy because I know I'm gonna be right.
And Ava-san survived by chance. And we don't know any more than that.
What could possibly just
Create
get
an
rid
accident?
of half an island and leave someone 2 kilometers alive away?
And destroy the evidence?
Yeah.
In short, it all comes down to whether you believe the story of the only survivor, Ava-san, or not. I believed. The ring and her praiseworthy love for the family, and the tears she shed at the funeral. Taking all of that into consideration, I decided to believe her story.
But I don't believe it. If she wanted to steal the ring, there were probably many ways for her to do it, and no one knows if her relationship with her family really was that good. No one can prove the tears at a funeral are real. Anyway, I hated Aunt Ava from the very beginning, so I don't even want to believe her.
How does one view the truth of the crime? You and I are on completely opposite sides. Even though the information we're given is exactly the same, we interpret it completely different ways. This happens often in politics and business. The exact same enterprise will always be assessed in multiple differing ways. Do you know why?
Why?
It's a question of whether one has love. Whether you feel love for someone or not completely changes how you view them. If the person you like gives to the poor, you respect them for it, right? But if someone you hate starts donating, you fiercely protest that it's a publicity stunt, or that they're handing out favors. No matter what they do or don't do, you thank them if you have love and criticize them if you don't. That's how the world works.
Can Aunt Ava be trusted or can't she? You're saying that's all that really matters?
Those who suspect her will probably take anything she does or doesn't do and truly see it as something unnatural. And it works in reverse. As for me, I think that barring certain extreme circumstances, truth might not exist in this world at all.
Oh, that's a rough sentence to squeeze in.
Yeah. No, even if truth does exist, whether you believe it or not is determined by whether you have love or not. Can you really call truth without certainty truth? Even if Ava-san had been able to show physical proof that she had an alibi, would you have been able to believe it? It's hard to counter that.
I hate Aunt Ava, so I'll probably deny any information beneficial to her, and interpret any neutral information in a negative way. In other words, the truth is already decided inside me. So just what in the world is this truth that I'm still searching for, unsatisfied?
That's how it is. So, no matter what you hear from me, since you still suspect Ava-san after all this time, nothing will change. At the very least, even if you were to grasp a piece of hitherto unknown information, I don't think you'd be able to reach the truth the way you are now.
So I can't reach the truth.
After all, no matter what kind of new information or proof you find, Angie-chan, it won't change your stance that Ava-san is the culprit, right? So it's pointless to investigate anything more, because the truth inside of you is already decided.
It's true, I have solved the murders.
However, if you stop assuming that to be the truth, if you wish to struggle further towards the deeper, real truth, there is a single way. I believe I already mentioned it, but do you know what it is?
Is it love? I don't really know what you mean.
Right now, you're considering this under the assumption that Ava-san is the culprit, but that's no different than looking at something with a single eye. With one eye, no matter how much you squint, you cannot see an object in 3 dimensions, right? That's why we have another eye. And of course, it's in a different position from the first eye.
You're telling me to look at things based on the supposition that Aunt Ava isn't the culprit, or else that it was a real accident?
Yes, that's correct. When thinking about anything, you should always try to look at it from different perspectives. If you don't, you won't understand anything about what is real. It's the same with newspapers. You can't see anything from the single viewpoint of a writer who wrote an article in a single newspaper. Sometimes you can only process information composedly in 3 dimensions when you read multiple newspapers. Without love, the truth cannot be seen. Sounds nice. Maybe he thought it interesting that such a flashy phrase would pop out of his mouth. For a while, he laughed, looking pleased. At the same time, he was
telling me he'd said everything he knew, and it was about time to leave. I want to look at that phrase once again. Without love, the truth cannot be seen. Interesting. Interesting that appears again.
It's true.
I understood that and got to my feet.
I do understand your feelings, Angie-chan. You should do as you like for a while until you're satisfied. You were 6 years old at the time. I understand how you must feel after losing your family before you could even understand what that meant, and how you must still be unable to sort out your heart. You may learn the truth and you may not. Ava-san may be the culprit and she may be a victim. I pray that you find the truth you believe in, Angie-chan. A journey at such a young age may prove to be a valuable experience.
Thank you very much. I'm truly sorry to be such a bother when you're so busy. Okanogi-san.
Nice. Do we have a title card for him?
We just got it.
Oh, we did. Okay, good. I didn't hear it. I was thinking. Yeah, there we go.
Dead.
Yeah, you want to go through these?
After repeatedly being hospitalized because of psychogenic stress.
Yep.
She has already died in the world of 1998 due to acute heart failure. She lived in her later years in isolation with no one to understand her and is the only survivor from Rikkenjima. The media gave her the name Queen of Suspicion.
Yep.
She continued to make reckless expansions of her business just like Kinzo had done in the past, which earned her many enemies. By her later years, she was doing it merely to harass people as if she enjoyed it rather than for financial gain. And it was all done for the sake of Angie, who would eventually succeed her.
Totally. Okanogi...
He's got a photo!
Yeah, there he is. Okanogi Tetsuro, a leading member of the Yoshumiya group. Between the time of Ava's death, and Angie succeeding her position, management of the group has fallen to co-members like him in her stead. However, Angie has no desire to inherit that role, leaving the group on the brink of fracturing internally and putting Okanogi in a difficult position. He was once the president of a foodstuffs distribution company and had an intimate relationship with Hideyoshi's business. Because of that long-lasting association, Ava trusted him particularly, and he was appointed to an important post within the group.
Even after throwing herself off the top of a skyscraper, she miraculously survived unharmed.
Miraculously.
After that mystical experience, she threw away everything and went on a journey by herself to learn her past. Can she break through Beatrice's magic from her position 12 years in the future? Are you ready, Ben? We're about to meet Kuwabata. It's gonna happen. Okay,
I'm so excited.
So do we have 2 extra ones now?
Yeah, we got these, then we got the
Magic.
magic stuff. She's a witch. That's right.
Okay, so we got 3 of them now.
We got 3 now.
Be nice if it just gave us like 1, 2, 3 down the bottom here, rather than just 3 next buttons that we have to cycle through.
Yeah. No trouble, no trouble. What are you gonna do now?
Well, whatever works. I've made appointments with several specialists and people related to the crime. I plan to go visit them.
I see. I hope you find an answer you can accept. At that time, company president... Nope, it's you.
At that time, company president Okanogi's secretary came in, handing him a memo over his shoulder. He read it, then looked between it and my face.
Angie-chan, my apologies that this comes right after telling you to try going on a journey, but I have some information you should lend an ear to. It looks like you're in a bit of a nasty fix right now.
People after my money. This is why money's stupid.
Yes, but if you sell off all of the wealth, trying to donate the whole sum to public welfare, you'll make the eyes pop out of those people optimistic about their chances with your fortune.
Oh, the Sumidera family. Those guys act so proud, like they're my guards or something. I haven't forgotten Aunt Ava. There's no way I'll put myself in the care of the Sumidera family. They probably want to, as Aunt Ava often threatened in the past. Cut off my arms and legs, throw me in a warehouse, and suck the assuring me a family's wealth dry.
Apparently, a messenger from the Sumidera family is coming here.
I thought he was from the Sumidera family.
Maybe he's not. They're saying to hand you over. No, that they want to protect you.
The messenger, you say?
It's fucking track. It's your aunt. Kirie-san's younger sister.
Oh shit?
I believe she told me earlier that she thinks of you as a little sister.
She's gotta be joking. At least call me a granddaughter, you old hag.
Judging from the context, it seems they have no wish to listen to your desires. I have a car waiting in the parking lot, 2 stories underground. Go.
My god, this is too intense. Sumidera family is telling you to hand me over. It's really okay to let me go.
You will definitely become something big in the future, Angie-chan. Let us call this a favor to be repaid upon your success. Go, quickly! After bowing silently and deeply, Angie left that place at a dash. After watching her leave, the female secretary straightened her glasses and whispered, "The Sumidera family told us to stall her. Is it really alright to let her go?" "We did stall her, more than enough. If they still don't make it in time, that's their own fault. I told Angie-chan to run for it. I informed the Sumideras that Angie-chan would be coming. Whether she's caught or not, I will not be blamed." Slimy motherfucker.
I love him.
Everything in this world is love, you see. Don't worry, she'll escape. After all, that child's capable of leaping off a building to shake pursuers. Okanogi looked down again through a crack in the blinds, muttering, "Nope, definitely couldn't do it." Angie wasn't a fool herself. She got off the elevator, but on the 3rd floor. A taxi in the 2nd level of the basement? It's so neat and clean.
I don't like it. It's probably better to refuse for now. My enemies aren't fools either. They're probably waiting in the 1st floor lobby as well as the underground parking lot. Such a massive building. Instead of getting anxious and escaping outside, maybe it's better to stay inside and wait it out. No, that's useless.
It's all useless.
If they get their hands on a security room in a modern building like this, you'll have nowhere to run to. This entire building is a massive dead end. The 3rd floor is the business floor. A young girl like me will clearly stick out. Trying not to stand out any more than I had to, I walked at a brisk pace, searching for an emergency exit. It'd be perfect if that staircase was an outside one. I found the door to the emergency exit. After opening that heavy door, I found the outside staircase I'd hoped for. I bumped into a man who looked like an employee skipping work smoking a cigarette. After glaring at me, he quickly crushed out his cigarette and went away. I looked like there was no one below. If I'm gonna escape, now's my only chance. Just when I thought that, a black car slid right under me and came to a sudden stop with an incredible squealing of the tires.
Oh shit!
Judging by the sound of the tires, it seemed they had several other allies, and one of them had come here to block this path. Not bad, Aunt Kasumi. Think you'd even send a car to pick up your little sister when she's trying to get out through the emergency exit.
Jesus.
Doors of the car were forcefully opened and 3 black-suited men jumped out, looking up at the emergency staircase. Crap, our eyes met.
12, target found. Northwest side, emergency stairs, 3rd floor, send support. Angie-sama, try not to move from there. Forgive our roughness.
What's that for 10?
Look, I just had to let you know I'm coming for you, see?
Yeah.
I got a suit now. It's pretty cool.
The three of them began to clamber up the emergency exit. They've already announced that they plan to be rough. This is pretty bad. As long as I don't stop breathing, they've probably been ordered to grab me no matter what, even if they gotta rip out one of my arms.
Damn.
Their heavy, wild footsteps became a helix and began to rise from the lower floors, getting closer. In the entrance lobby of the building, a woman with several black-suited guards behind her advanced at a leisurely pace. Seeing this ostentatious entrance, the security guards for the building ran up to them, asking if they had an appointment.
How typical of...
Oh my goodness.
Here we go. There's a new character. I need a voice. How typical. No. Oh, God. I'm out of voices. Shit.
I mean, just go over the top and then tune it down. Just
Go over the top and then shoot down?
Yeah.
How typical of Tokyo people. This is not at all.
That's
This
just
is.
r-
It's just
r-
on the
r-
way. I can't even handle this. I'm done. God damn it. Help me out here, bro.
How typical of Tokyo people.
That's just Vigilia.
Don't you understand the status of the person you're talking to without her having to say her
Are
name?
you taking this character?
For now.
All right. My apologies. And our company gets to take a security.
Back down, scum. I came because I was called by your president, Kolokanogi Tetsura. To think he would call me here and then not welcome me. How typical of Tokyo people.
My apologies. Welcome to the Ushumiya Group, Sumidera Kasumi-san.
Let's go.
With his secretary behind him, Okanogi dashingly appeared from the elevator.
Oh!
There it is. You want to take this?
Sumidera Kasumi, daughter of the declining noble
Not even
family.
using the voice!
No! Sumidera Ushumiya Kirie's younger sister. She despises her sister, and by extension, Angie as well. They're just right out the gate. They're like, she treats you as a younger sister, and then like,
And she
no.
hates her. Yeah.
She's the opposite of the freewheeling person Kyrie was, and holds the appearance in high regard, possessing a strong ambition for philanthropy. However, this is all just craving for the limelight caused by the complex she is towards her sister. There are several opposing factions in the Sumidera family, and they're constantly engaged in a secret feud over who will control the vast wealth Angie holds.
You know what? Ever, you just take the character. I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Yeah, Okanogi dashingly appeared from the elevator. Even though both of them wore bold smiles, they were wrapped in a tension reminiscent of the smell of gunpowder.
Where is Angie? I came to greet that adorable daughter of my big sisters.
Strict observance of time is a motto here at the Ushumiya Group. The former chairman herself said that those who can't keep time can't keep contracts.
You called me all the way to Tokyo, and this is all you have to show for it. You let her go, didn't you?
Please, she escaped from us. We did stall her for quite some time. But unsurprisingly, she did eventually smell a rat. Of course, this wouldn't have been a problem at all if you had arrived on time, Sumidera-san.
Ah, these provincials and their loose concept of time.
That
Oh, that was you.
was definitely me.
What was that? What did you say to me?
You couldn't sense any of Kirio's open frankness in Kasumi's face. She wore the arrogance of the ancient Sumidera family towards the ruined Ushumiya family, as well as pride, because she didn't want anyone to notice that her family was declining so much that they couldn't ignore the Ushumiya family's wealth. Even at a glance, it was easy to understand why Angie hated her aunt so deeply. Haunted as well. She couldn't stand even a slight insult, and even though she still smiled, her eyebrow twitched. At that time, the black-suited man behind Kasumi whispered to her, "Angie-sama has been found. We're currently dealing with her."
Oh, I'm glad we made it in time. Thank you, Okanogi. It seems I can finally take my mischievous niece home. I've waited so long to talk with that girl in my tea room, with all of the tools prepared.
Oh god. She's a wonderful woman. Clank, 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 clank.
See, I'm running out of voices too.
I know.
I began a sentence with one voice and
I
it
know.
fell apart immediately.
I know, you're falling into kind of Ava, a little bit of Rosa in there, I'm sure.
Nah.
It's good fun.
As the violent sound drew a helix, it rushed up at me from below, threatening to swallow me up. Of course, even if I fight, there's no way I'll be able to win. And yet running into the building would be like jumping into a dead end of my own accord. My enemies will increase in number with time. If I don't do something here and now, I won't have any more chances to escape. 3 muscular black-suited men came into view below me. 1, 2, 3 people. In other words, everyone who had gotten out of the car. If there had been just one of them, I might have been able to drop-kick them or something and smash them in the head, which might work out. But it really would be impossible with 3 of them. Wait, 3? If there's just 3, I should be able to make it. I can do it. Take a deep breath. Ah!
What? You idiot! Stop! Look out! Oh! 01, calling 12. Is the package secure? We received a response. What happened? Respond! She's crazy, damn it! This is the shit. Is that jazzy shit? Here we go!
See, that worked out perfectly, didn't it? It's just the three of them after all. Already tried that once from a higher place. I knew I'd be able to jump down just 3 floors. It's a good thing the car they came in was right beneath me. Even if it wasn't as pleasant as a trampoline, it broke my fall. A little gently, a little roughly.
How rude. You didn't have to dent that much.
The roof of the car broke my fall, leaving a massive dent around my body. Car roofs are surprisingly delicate. I don't think it's because of my weight. Apparently the 3 people on the stairs hadn't planned on me jumping down. It seemed they now realized that they'd been outwitted and they were rushing down the stairs. I've got to run and escape while I have the chance. I moved my body, making clunking sounds on the car roof. But I'd been naive. Of course they wouldn't all rush up the stairs without leaving one person behind. There was one black-suited man left in the driver's seat of the car that had broken my fall. He stuck his head out the window, and when he realized what had happened, what had fallen on him, he jumped out. In a rush, I jumped off the roof, but the black-suited man's reaction was really fast. Either there was a massive reward for capturing me, or there'd be some harsh punishment in store for them if they let me get away.
15, secured, secured!
Ow, don't touch me like that. Let go! I was mercilessly held down against the asphalt. I was being crushed face down, covered and pressed upon from above. It was a hold without a trace of elegance, but it was extremely practical and left me no room for resistance. I tried to push back with both hands, searching for a way to resist, but I was being pushed down solidly and I couldn't even tear myself off the asphalt. And another car came squealing its tires and slid to a sudden stop. Is it all over now? Gah! The man that had been crushing me let out a sharp cry. He was yelling straight into my ear, making my left ear ring. What in the world? Along with the black-suited guy, I fell with a thunk. After landing face up, the first thing I saw was an arm stuck out right in front of my eyes. Amakusa? What are you doing here?
Let's talk about that.
Oh, God!
After we've lost them. Cool cat. Yeah! He's finally here! Ladies, let your hearts throb. It's Amakusa!
What's his name?
Amakusa!
Amakusa.
Amakusa. Let's talk about that after we've lost them. To the car, quickly, lady.
Amakusa grabbed my arm, easily pulled me up, spinning me around with himself as the center of gravity. Just when I thought it was a little like a dance, he flung me through the open door into the driver's seat.
Fucking suave.
Into the driver's seat. I climbed over the handbrake and slid into the passenger seat. Pushing me in, Amakusa also got in the driver's seat. Since we suddenly accelerated while I was still on all fours, I had to kick and struggle around on the chair for a while like a turtle that's been flipped over. Amakusa checked the rearview mirror for cars in pursuit, but he flew into the artery of the big city without lowering his speed in the slightest. Did we get a tip from him? It might have been mossed by the music. I don't think we did, no.
Not yet. Amakusa. So sexy.
What the hell is going on?
I love this man. Here we go. Action sequence. Let's drive.
We sewed our way between cars one after another. Just like a chase scene in some action
What
movie.
the fuck? Get out of here!
I mean, who even needs to describe it when you can just say it was like an action movie? That is like, I get it, because it's like not what we need to be paying attention to, but that's also so lazy.
Oh, I mean, the scene isn't over yet. What are you talking about? We just had a fucking fight.
Just like, it was like a scene in an action movie.
I mean, yeah, that's her impression.
I was shaken by this horrible driving and had trouble sitting back down.
Are you hurt, lady?
That's not how you sit in a car chair. That's dangerous.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm fine. Humans are surprisingly durable. Next time I try to escape a downward moving elevator, I'll jump out a window instead.
Yeah. I guess air dives are a hobby of yours, lady. Still, I recommend you grab a parachute next time.
Sure, if I remember to do it after leaping.
Cool.
He smacked the steering wheel, guffawing. Need an explanation for this flippantly talking man?
No, he's the best.
His name is Amakusa Juza.
There he is.
Juza?
Do you get a tip?
I think so.
I cannot hear it at all. Amakusa Juza, former god of Avis. He's fundamentally a thrill seeker willing to take on dangerous jobs for very little pay. At one point, he did work as a guard for Angie, but after repeatedly violating Ava's strict orders not to speak to her, Ava grew to dislike him and fired him. Angie seemed not to mind having him around, as he would often chat with her. This man, who's traveled between the Japan Self-Defense Force, the Foreign Legion, and non-government military companies, has skill in counter-sniping and protecting VIPs. He's also a badass. And a cool cat, yo. Look at that gold. All these fucking pants in the new images are all torn up. Just like a cool guy.
And that's the same as his shirt. Oh, it's ridiculous.
So good.
He was originally one of Aunt Ava's guards. Didn't she start to hate him because he chatted too much?
That's what we just read.
He was much younger than the rest of the guards, but contrary to his outward flippancy, he'd hopped from the 1st Airborne of the JSDF to the French Foreign Legion, placing himself in an overseas private military company and high-class security companies one after another, making for a pretty incredible and unique career. But I heard he deserted both the JSDF and the French Foreign Legion, and that he'll be arrested if he enters France again. Both of these flippant episodes were very typical of him. The guards were sternly told not to chat with me unnecessarily, but he came and took a pass at me, didn't he? And Ava was apparently not particularly put off by that, and had supposedly dismissed him shortly before she died.
Yep. Was put off.
Was put off?
Yes,
Did I add another word? Oh my god.
It's okay.
It's too much.
It's too much action sequence. Too much.
It's been a while since I've heard that carefree tone. What happened after you got fired?
Well, I was coaching some people at Blackwater Academy. When I came back to the country during my time off, President Okanoki offered me a high wage.
So you deserted again. I wonder how a man like that can be useful for anything.
Doesn't count as desertion as long as I come back by next week. I talked with him yesterday. I was told that some troublesome people might come to call on you, lady.
Sorry that turned out to be exactly right.
My name probably came up since I know you, and I got lots of crazy experience. Thanks to you, it looks like I'm in for a happy vacation plus some pocket money. Haha.
So, Okanogi-san employed you as my guard.
He probably wants to buy some gratitude from you, lady. After I got fired, I was indebted to President Okanoki in various ways. He's got some dirt on me here and there, and now I can't say no to him. Yeah! Ha
Seems that getting indebted to Okanogi-san can be pretty costly later on. So where are you planning on taking me?
Anywhere. I'm employed until the weekend. Anything after that'll cost you extra.
How much per day?
It'll take 50,000. Plus expenses, of course.
If you stop cracking jokes, I'll double it. Period of employment isn't fixed yet. Might take several weeks.
That'll be tough. I'll have to call my boss to get an extension on my vacation.
More than anything, I want to investigate that day.
Oh, is this about Okenjima?
Exactly. What happened on that island 12 years ago? I want to investigate it with my own hands to my satisfaction.
Do you really expect to find anything new investigating something like that old? Damn, girl.
True, but this is a journey for my own self-satisfaction. Once that's over, I'll just throw my hands up and go over to the Sumidera family. Did Aunt Kasumi say something about how she wanted to serve me some matcha? Maybe she'll serve me tea as I kneel on sharp wooden blocks, clutching stones or something.
Damn, that sounds freaky. Yeah. I imagine that he's actively like strumming on the wheel as he's driving it. Oh my god. Amakusa, love you. My apologies, we lost sight of them. A single man thought to be an associate assisted in her escape. Judging by his possession of a stun gun and his driving skills, he's no amateur.
I see, thank you. What a shame, Okanogi. Shall I take this as your answer?
Letting you get away was your blunder.
You're still taking this voice in the end. I'm just covering for you.
Sure. Letting you get away was your blunder. It has nothing to do with me.
I do wish to prepare some matcha for you as well in the near future. Next time you're in Kyoto, please stop by. I'm going.
Oh, are you leaving already? I could offer you some Chezuke first. With her back still facing Okanogi, she laughs softly but with an increasingly shrill and hateful tone, using that as a substitute for a sharp, parting remark. Just as she stopped laughing, her features suddenly changed to look like a demon's, but because her back was facing him, Okanogi couldn't see that expression. Okanogi watched her go, laughing coolly. His secretary whispered over his shoulder, "Are you sure about this? Milady Angie is our company's primary stockholder. If the Sumidera family becomes her guardian..." "I get it. But you know, we're the world famous Ashuramias. We can't let them take us lightly. Still, it looks like that guy managed it pretty well. All that's left is let Angie-chan do as she pleases. I'm counting on you, Amakusa." Kasumi-san, the escaping car was a rental. The license plate they displayed was a fake. We're clearly dealing with a pro. They'll probably abandon the car. Pursuit will be difficult. Should we have the police chase them?
Yes. Shall we have them search for our runaway daughter? They're getting paid without taxes, so the police must be of some use every once in a while. When I left the mansion, I boldly told Mother to leave it to me, didn't I? You intend to embarrass me further? Looks like it might be better for me to serve some matcha for everyone at once, doesn't it? Our underground tea room is cramped, so you'll have to wait in line. Oh god.
Okay. No, we will search with everything we have.
Ah, she really is a cute kid, just like Nei-san. Especially that way she freewheels and does as she pleases. Ah, now I can't see anything but Nei-san. I'm truly looking forward to it. If only I could invite Nei-san's daughter to my tea room, right? That was a bass drop.
Yup.
Sumidera family sure moved quickly. Did Okanogi-san sell me out?
You're joking. He's my client. If he'd sold you out, he wouldn't have hired me, right?
I guess that's true.
So that's why you got off the elevator at the 3rd floor.
Him having a car waiting in the underground parking lot was just too convenient. Figured Okanogi-san sold me out. Though I guess by now it's impossible to prove whether there was an ambush set up in the parking lot or not.
I see, that poor president guy. Looks like you don't trust him a bit, lady. That car in the basement was mine.
Huh? He's talking about you, Amakusa?
I freaked when the elevator came and was empty. I wonder what would have happened by now if I hadn't been listening in on the radio.
So what's going on? If I'd obediently believed Okanogi-san and gone to the parking lot, there would have been no need for me to do that jump off the 3rd floor.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, it turned out okay in the end.
What the hell? If I hadn't suspected President Okanogi, I could have easily escaped without getting caught in a tough spot. President Okanogi might have sold me out. No, since paranoia told me it was better to assume that he'd sold me out. I supposed and concluded that he sold me out. Because of my inability to believe in him regardless of his truth, my truth became he sold me out. I thought back on President Okanogi's words. Can you really call truth without certainty truth? Truth can change completely depending on whether you have love or not. In the end, perhaps truth itself doesn't exist. There are as many interpreted truths as there are people who speak of the truth. If I can't accept something that fluid as truth, where does truth that I really want to find exist? And is it something I'll be able to see with my eyes? Even if someone sticks the truth right there in front of me and says it's the truth, I might not be able to see it. Without love, it cannot be seen, huh?
This fragment of yours is very lively. It doesn't bore me.
You told me something. You commanded me to search for the truth of 12 years ago. There's something I'm not getting.
What's that?
What is truth? There are as many truths as there are people. There are as many interpretations as there are people. And those can be twisted by opinions and changed indefinitely. Is truth really that unfixed and vague?
That's right. Truth is unfixed. It can be like a particle or like a wave, and it can hold conflicting forms at the same time. You are free to believe that Cat in the Box is alive or dead. But the truth is very delicate. It can change its appearance just by being observed.
You're talking about stuff like Schrodinger's cat box. Nonsense. If you open the box, you learn the truth. Discussion about what happens before you open it is just an armchair theory.
That's right. And yet, in order to deny that abstract theory, you need to open the box. It is impossible to negate any idea about the context of a box that cannot be opened. This is what truth is. As long as truth isn't denied, it keeps its form.
That's right.
Yeah, we were definitely the other way around. Yeah, that's right, Angie. We definitely said that line. As long as truth isn't observed, it keeps its form.
In other words, if it isn't exposed, any reckless statement can suffice as truth.
Yes. Even if they contradict each other, endless ideas can exist as truth at the same time without being negated.
So even something as screwed up as my family being captured by the Rikenjima witch and shut up 12 years ago for all eternity can exist as truth as long as we don't know what happened 12 years ago. This witch called Beatrice forcibly made room for...
No. This witch called Beatrice. Was that like 20 points for Rikushi in this episode so far?
Yeah, we're losing hard.
Goddamn. This witch, called Beatrice, forcibly made room for endless imaginings in the Rekenjima of 12 years ago, enveloping all of it inside a cat box. Everything inside the unopenable box is truth.
That's right, we don't know what happens on that island, so it becomes endless. That's assuming no one opens it up. I just have to wrench it open. That box was closed up 12 years ago and I don't even know where it is. Even if I visit Rekenjima, just what can I learn about what happened 12 years ago on that desolated island?
Who knows? I wonder what you could learn. This is something that can only be done by the person who is able to walk around freely in the world of 1998, 12 years in the future, the final witch, Angie Beatrice. Beatrice's game board lasts 2 days, from October 4th, 1986 to the 5th. In other words, you're a piece who can move freely outside of her game board, and even Beatrice cannot influence his future that lies outside the game board.
If you say it like that, it sounds like I'm a pretty overpowered piece.
The future of 12 years later, in which you are placed, certainly is distant. However, the further a piece is placed in the future, the stronger power it holds. I told you, didn't I? The truth changes its appearance when it is observed.
Come to think of it, I heard something like that once. Even if one day, all of a sudden, a star in the constellation Centaurus were to explode, the light from that explosion would have to cross 4.4 light years. It would take 4.5 years to reach the Earth.
That's right. In other words, even if the sun in Centaurus has already died, people on Earth won't be able to perceive that fact for 4.5 years, because no method of perception exists that is faster than the speed of light. When we learn that the sun in Centaurus has exploded, we Earth people will paint over our history of 4.5 years ago with a new truth. We'll revise history with a new fact that exploded 4.5 years ago. However, for the 4.5 year period until we learn that, despite the fact that it has already died, the mistaken truth that the sun of Centaurus still exists will be able to exist as truth. The truth of the future wins against the truth of the past.
That's right. By itself, the Rekenjima accident gave rise to nothing but suspicion of a conspiracy involving Anne Avery and the Ashirmiya family assets. Later on, it was dramatized and linked to the occult, and the conspiracy was painted over by the legend of the witch. Even though it was clambered over as a conspiracy at the time of the crime, later on strange occult theories which claimed that it was the work of the witch ran rampant and began to paint over the truth of October 5th, 1986. The conspiracy theories will probably be forgotten over time, and only the more bizarre, impressive witch theory will continue to remain a superstition, eventually covering up the conspiracies. That's right. The false truth that exists before the light from an exploding star reaches Earth is almost like the conspiracy theory, which is a human theory. The wine bottle with a letter in it that drifted ashore several years later, the message bottle, painted over that theory and made things return to the occult theory, which is a witch's theory. That's right. A witch didn't exist during 1986. The witch took control of Rekenjima because she was observed several years later by us humans of the future, thanks to that message bottle.
A small revision is necessary. The witch could have existed even during 1986, as one of many endless possibilities that can exist.
Certainly. She'd disappear if she were observed, so she curls up inside the cat box. That's what makes the message bottle so nasty. The witch tried to get out of the box. She made it so she'd be observed, weeding out possibilities that conflicted with the witch theory. In other words, to make it impossible to negate her, she negated all possibilities other than the witch theory. What the hell? So in other words, Beatrice satisfied the devil's proof with a frontal attack. And that was part of the witch's plan from the beginning.
The message bottle is information observed in the future after 1986. It cannot be observed by Beatrice or Battler. It can only be observed by Angie Beatrice.
I really didn't want to investigate the message bottle. After all, reading that would be like listening to the witch say. I thought the witch theory was just a crazy fantasy, so I thought of it as nothing more than a waste of time. But Okanogi-san told me, you can't see things in 3 dimensions with only one eye. You mean that, well...
You mean that while looking at it from the viewpoint of denying witches, you must also look at it from the viewpoint of accepting witches. That's a correct way of thinking. The number of viewpoints is like a denominator. If you have one viewpoint, the mystery in the numerator doesn't decrease in the slightest. However, the more your number of viewpoints increases, the more the mystery begins to be divided.
I understand. There was a message bottle that washed up on a neighboring island several years after the crime, that passed into the hands of a dilettante. I made an appointment with him just in case. I was able to hear Aunt Ava's say from Okanogi-san. Next up is the witch's say. Why don't I listen to Beatrice's say? Ooh.
Yes, we'll listen to the witch's story.
Oh my.